Members, we now rise back from recess, and we'll just start off with a couple of follow-up questions by any of the members. But I'll start off with Mr. Secretary. Early in, earlier in today's testimony, you mentioned that you were part of the program formulation. Um was recoupment, the process of recoupment or follow up, ever been discussed? And were you a part of that discussion?
Recruitment?
Recoupment or follow up in regards to the awardees utilizing the funds for its intended purpose?
No, I wasn't part of that. I've never discussed that. From what I've learned is that uh, during some of our meeting is that Banco Saipan will follow up based on the agreement that the recipient received, that they signed, that they will do, use the funding for certain things, that they'll follow it up as part of their contract.
Okay. But being a part of the panel that formulates this program, why wasn't instances like award amounts or the process of rating been part of the discussion?
I It was just never. I think it was just never on the table. That we didn't discuss that.
And during the process of reviewing applications where Mr. Taisagui sat in on, has he ever gone back to you to discuss the status of the program, or have you followed up with Mr. Taisagui on what the status of the program is, where they're at in the reviewing process as well as approval process?
No, we never sit down to discuss about status of any applicants or process of approving. When we discuss the status of the program, it's everyone that is involved, the departments that are involved, comes in to discuss whether moving forward with additional funding is needed because of the overwhelming applicants, and general issues, nothing have to do with applicants themselves having to discuss the application.
And so you basically gave Mr. Taisagui full authority to do as he pleases in regards to the program without reporting to you as the secretary or as the designated department for reviewing applications.
Yes, to from to safeguard on the on you know on reviewing sensitive information in the application. I gave him the authority to be the person to discuss that with the panel and make the decision, and he does not come to me to discuss any of those.
So he never mentioned also the dates of meetings that he will be out of the office to attend those meetings or anything to that effect
The dates of meetings
with the review panel.
I don't know the dates of meetings that review panel because that's their group.
Right, but he wouldn't report to you that he'll be out of the office because they'll be reviewing.
Oh, you mentioned to probably my secretary or the director of administration that he'll be out for a meeting, but
So
I
there's no set schedule as to when the panelists
no,
meet
there's no set schedule. It's
that
just
you're
they
aware
call the
of.
meeting as needed. Yes.
Okay. When were you first aware of the award distribution?
Uh, I don't have the date with in my head
But
right now, but I I guess I found out about it when we meet in a general meeting that the first distribution have been submitted already to. I mean, the first recommendation has been submitted over to the governor. In terms of when that comes out, I don't have any idea because that request goes to the governor first for approval before Banco Saipan will process the check.
right. So after Banco Saipan processes these checks, you haven't seen any of the awardees or the award amounts.
No, because Banco Saipan is responsible for calling them in and executing the agreement. There's nothing up at Commerce that what it requires them to come meet with us after they get their awards. No,
Okay. Have you ever participated in the award distribution, whether it's on Saipan or
no,
Tinian or
no.
Rhoda? So it has never come to your attention, or at least concern, that or I guess it hasn't concerned you how well this program is being managed at any point during the period in which the application was open, or when individuals started receiving the awards, being that you were part of the committee or panel that formulated this program?
No, I am always with the understanding that the program is being pushed out correctly, and that my only concern is that I wanted to know that the people out there are really coming in to take advantage of this program.
And how much of the, as of today, how much do you know of how well the program was managed? What is your opinion today as to how well this program has have been managed up until this point?
Well, there's a lot of things that I don't have any participation in the process of carrying out this program, and some of the things that I've learned is just through the past public hearing here, and but I guess I feel that there are things that we should have looked at prior to the rolling out of these programs.
All right. Thank you for that. I would like to open the floor to any of the members. Recognize Rep. Sablon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick follow-up on that last point, Mr. Secretary Dylan Guerrero. You said that you feel that there were things that you should have looked at prior to the launch of the program. Could you just be more specific? What things do you feel that should
Well,
have been looked at?
There's some new information that I don't know myself. Like for instance, some of the awards that you guys have mentioned that I don't know about. Uh, I didn't know that back on Saipan have an application that is been approved, and I don't know how the process of paying them. I didn't even know that they got paid twice. Like. So those are things that I think we should maybe carefully look at the beginning to make sure that those are not don't fall in the crack, no, and that we will be able to avoid those kind of situations.
Okay. Do you think that there should have been records kept of these review panel meetings and how applicants were scored?
Yes, I think there should be.
How applicants were scored?
Uh, yes, I think there should be record kept, but I really don't know whether they keep the records or not. I'm not privy to that. But yes, I feel that that's one of the things that's important to have. No?
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier you do think that the guidelines should have also been publicly available,
Yes.
right? Okay. Anything else?
No, that's about.
Conflict of interest policy, should there have been one? That was very clear.
Well, yes, I think that I think we should be transparent to the public now. But I prior to receiving all the application, actually we cannot anticipate there's going to be that conflict of interest. So something has to come out, and at least to let the people know that we will not tolerate conflict of interest. Decision making in the
Yeah.
process now.
Yeah, and that when there were conflicts, that there should also have been documentation of recusals, right? You think that would have been important too, in
Yes,
hindsight?
yes.
Yeah. So when you look back on the program and the way it has been managed, can you think of any sort of legislation or or policy change that we might consider to improve oversight and accountability in any program like this that is meant to benefit the community, but is also, and it also involves a lot of public funds, the distribution of public funds. Is there anything that you would recommend that we consider to improve accountability in programs like this?
Not at this moment,
Mhm.
but I believe there is always have to be accountability. Whether there should be a legislation to ensure that I would need to really look at that further to make that
Mhm. But you
more
would
answer.
agree that more could be done to improve accountability.
I think so. Yes.
Thank you. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Samlan. I recognize co-chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Secretary De Leon Guerrero, are you aware that the boost seed money? First of all, are you aware how much was the original grant that was awarded to Bank of Saipan?
Awarded to Banco Saipan.
Yes.
The only thing I know is that the whole program at the beginning was around $10 million.
10 million.
Yes, and that Tinin and Rhoda, I guess, was earmarked like $1 million each, and then 8 million would be, for Saipan. But in terms of how much they given to Bank of Saipan at the time, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so originally the Bank of Saipan was awarded 11 million, and then on December 1st, they were again awarded an additional 6 million because of the numerous applications. Are you aware that the boost seed money, the 17 million, was being used for other payments or purposes other than what it was intended for?
No, no.
Do you know who? Do you now know that it was intended? I mean, being used to pay for other things that was not related to the boost program.
Well, I heard about that during the public hearing, but that was the first time that I've heard that, and I don't have any knowledge whether that actually happened or not. But I heard that that was one of the conversations that was discussed during the public hearing.
This public hearing, you mean?
Yes, this public hearing.
Okay, so are you aware that there were at least 5 advertising companies that was contracted or enlisted or subcontracted for the
No.
boost program?
No, I have no participation in the contracting of this.
Okay. Are you familiar with a company called Nonstop Corporation?
No.
You don't know what their role is in the boost?
Well, yeah, there are companies there are people that the Banco Saipan are using for technical assistance, but I really don't know the company, the name of the company that those workers come from, because that's a decision that the Banco Saipan have to make. No.
I yield.
Thank you, co-chair. I recognize Vice Chair Magofnia.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. De Leon Guerrero, during the planning and formation of the Boost program, given that there was a limited amount for the program, was there ever a discussion amongst the team as to the allocation ratio of how much each program was going to get? For instance, what percentage of the Boost was for small businesses? What percentage was for nonprofit, etc.?
Yes, there was a threshold on the different categories when we were trying to make it a loan. But when it came a grant, that was not there was none. There was no threshold in terms of how much can you give for nonprofit and for the each business application.
So why did that change? I mean, if you guys initially had that concept for the loan program, why not transfer that into the grant so that everyone can avail of it, fairly and justly, and not just free for all, and whoever comes first or whoever's application was reviewed and approved first?
I'm sorry, I cannot answer that.
Okay. Would you know who can answer that?
Well, the only thing that I can say is that when it is moved from loan to a grant, we knew that it's going to be overwhelming people that would be applying for the boost program. So it's with the limited amount that is available. I just don't know how to say only this much for. It will be up to the panel committee to review which applicant actually is really important to the economic development that we're pushing here in the cinema, and and use other means of determining how much to give to each of the applicant. I wasn't aware. I mean, I cannot answer why we don't have this.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think this is why it's so important that some of the criteria or even guidelines should have been put in place to ensure that the pie is shared equally, right, and fairly to all the applicants who are, especially those ones that are still waiting right now, because there's only a couple of hundred of applicants who were able to benefit from this program. And from what it looks like, with the number of applications still pending and the amount of funding still available, there might not be enough. I mean, there's possibly going to be a lot of disapproved notices going out soon. So that's very unfortunate. Um, in hindsight, seeing and hearing everything from this hearing thus far, what are some recommendations for improvement, if any, would you offer to the team who created the program?
Uh, well, one of the things is that I think we should really spell out or look at who is to be eligible for this program, and also structure the what do you call this the requirements for submitting the application so that it aligns with what is really you know what do we really need to entice our economy here based on our priorities and the need of our small business.
Thank you for that. Was there any discussion amongst the team to incorporate a department or two for compliance and enforcement to ensure that the program is being administered properly and, most importantly, in compliance with the funding source requirements? Was there any discussion to follow up with all the awardees to ensure that expenditures that were listed on their business plans are really being followed through after the awards have been issued? And if so, what are those recommendations?
Well, there's never been a recommendation for a department to follow through with the plans of the business, but because my understanding is that is part of the contract of Banco Saipan, is to follow through with in the later future, to follow through with the people that were awarded, whether they indeed utilize the money for the business plan that is submitted in.
So it is your testimony, if I'm understanding you correctly, that the responsibility is on Bank of Saipan to follow through with those awardees to ensure that everything that they listed in the business plan is what they spent the money on.
That's my understanding. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I recognize Rep. Staffler.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome back. Um, I remember right before lunch, you said that the panel for Boost Small Business was different from the other Boost applications.
I'm just not aware of that panel, or whether they have a panel or how they make that selection of the applicants for farmers and all those different things.
So do you
So
know who
is-
would be on that panel?
I am not sure, but I've heard I've heard that there is a group of people also that are helping out in the farmers and fisheries and in that program, which and that's why those discussions are not part of our group. for the small business.
Were those people that you heard of employed by the CNMI government in any form?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I don't know all of them that well.
Do you know if any of those people were employed by the Bank of Saipan?
I'm not sure.
Do you know anybody, like their names of who would have been on that panel?
No, I just heard that there is a group that's making decision, but I never inquire as to who they are.
So your designee, Mr. Jesus Taisagui, he never informed you that there was another panel?
No, no, and but I knew that doesn't make decision on those other programs other than the small business.
So he did not participate in the decision making for the small, the nonprofits?
No. Well,
So-
the nonprofit, that's part of the small business
So
package.
small
Yes.
business and nonprofits had the panel.
Yes.
And that panel consisted of who again? Sorry, just to make it clear.
Taisagui, Atalik, and Will Castro.
But for the workforce and for the FFR, Fishers, Farmers,
I
Ranchers, you do
don't
not know who
I
the
do not know
panelists
who the
were.
panelists are.
And so it was not Jesus Taisagui on that panel.
No,
You
no.
were not on that panel.
No,
Do you
no,
know if Will Castro was on that panel?
I don't know. Because I've never had any discussion with them on those programs.
So when you guys would have your meetings, you guys never
No.
discussed any of that. When
No.
did you start hearing about those two programs? Because they kind of came later.
Yes,
So when did you hear about them?
I think I start hearing them in early November or mid part of October.
So right before election.
Yeah, close to election. Yes.
Okay. I was reviewing the most recent list that was sent to us of the Boost Awards, and I was just kind of looking at the numbers, and it showed that there were 28 businesses out of the 241, so about 11% of the businesses received that second award. 28 of them received the second award versus the 200 and plus who did not. Do you have any idea as to what would have merited those second awards?
No, I'm not part of that.
Did you guys never discussed about giving second awards?
The panel is the one responsible for.
I kind of wanted to go back to my earlier question about being a certified or the local representative on the registered corporations. I was curious. I mean, to be that person, you are taking on a liability of that business, isn't that right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're going to be receiving a service summons from a court, I would think that means you're in trouble. So you're taking on liability, correct?
Not necessarily. It's just to make sure that they have a local agents that knows where are all these people that are liable for that corporation.
So typically, would that local representative be paid by that business?
No.
So you're saying that that person would put their name on the line for free?
That's my understanding. It's a volunteer thing. They'll ask you to become their agent, and if you say yes, they'll submit in your name as a local person from here that you agreed to be an agent for the company.
So you're saying that all people who are the local representative on the registered corporation, none of them are paid.
I don't know that.
How do we find out?
I don't know. I don't know because that's not part of the reporting requirements for.
It's not
Well,
part of
no.
reporting. Would
Requirements
that
for that.
person have to report it on their own taxes though?
They have to.
They should, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And if they don't, that's a form of tax fraud.
Yes.
Noted. I yield for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Saffler. Any other members? Recognize culture.
I have one question. Do these awardees have to pay taxes on these grants, awards that they received? Sorry.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
So as far as you know, it's just basically free money.
Well, it looks like it's a free money, but that money is supposed to have, is supposed to fund for something that the business is trying to do to benefit the economy of the cinema. So
To benefit the economy of the CNMI.
yes,
We've heard of awardees buying brand new cars, new Rolexes. Was that part of helping the economy?
No.
No. Okay, thank you. I yield.
Thank you, co-chair. I recognize. Okay, vice chair.
Just real quick on the tax subject. So what about the farmers, fishers, and ranchers who receive the 500? Are those considered taxable income?
Honestly, I don't know. That's finance. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
I recognize vice speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Just back to the tax question, and you're probably not the right person, right? Because we need Secretary of Finance or Revenue Tax. But if it's an external funds, maybe it might be possibly considered a grant, but they'll get them in the BGRT and the excise tax and all that kind of
They'll
stuff.
probably be required.
But the question is here, if you donate to a nonprofit organization using these funds, is it going to be considered a write-off in your tax? Because, for example, like a political party is a nonprofit organization, and if they're investing their money into the nonprofit organization, they can get tax reliefs for that.
I
you
cannot
know?
answer you that. I don't know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize Rep. Sablon.
Thank you. Welcome back again, Secretary. Earlier, you stated that you had an interest in the technical assistance that was offered to applicants to help prepare their applications, right,
Mhm.
their packages.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that there were some other entities that were involved in providing technical assistance. Could you just run us through who was doing that again?
When I was in Rota, there's I think that Mango or some I'm not too sure what's the name of the company, but there was some assistance from them and also SBDC from the
SBDC.
college. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and of course the staff from Commerce, the registrar helping on those compliance,
Okay.
and some people from Tax and Revenue that are also helping the compliance of the application.
Okay. And so you did attend at least that one technical assistance workshop, or were there
Yes.
others?
Yeah, I no, attend only two.
Okay.
And attend only to the start of the program, a meeting with people that are interested, and then when my people went down to the program, a meeting with people that are interested, and then when my people went down there, I went down to ensure that that's what's needed, and for them to move forward, and that's we saw the increase in the application so much.
Yeah. Okay. And did you yourself also provide technical assistance?
No,
So it's primarily your staff.
no, yes,
And who from your staff provided technical assistance?
that's the registrar of corporation.
Just the registrar. Okay. Did Mr. Tysigui provide any direct technical assistance?
No,
And did any other member of the review panel, either Mr. Castro or the Secretary of Finance, provide technical assistance?
no,
As far as you know.
no.
Okay. And are you part of any group chats related to the Boost program?
Group chat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mean, I hardly use my what do you call this, my no WhatsApp
Mhm.
to talk to any of these people, because normally we go to a meeting and I bring it out in a meeting.
Okay.
So I don't have any group chat really that comes in from all the different members of the people that are involved with Boost program.
Okay. So you don't have any WhatsApp messages related to Boost, or
Not WhatsApp. Some of them they'll send me many people will, the applicants outside will WhatsApp me or
Mhm.
send me messages. Hey, Mr. Guerrero, can you help me?
Mhm.
Find out what's the status of my application, or
Mhm.
can you help me to see whether this is what you guys are asking for? And I refer them to the right people. And I
Okay.
always tell them that you need to go to, call Banco Saipan, and Banco Saipan will tell you, all the different things that you need.
Okay.
But there's never an instance where we do something at Commerce. That part of the job is done by the contractor there.
I see.
Administrator.
Okay. And was there ever an instance when somebody would ask you for help following up on their application that you would inquire with the Bank of Saipan or Secretary of Finance?
No, the way I do that is when people start calling me, the weekends, I will get down the names, and then I will forward that name over to Jess Taisagwe
Mhm.
to see whether those applications have been submitted already or not, or the status.
Okay, so Mr. Tysick would be the one
Yes,
to do follow-ups.
I don't get in touch with John Arroyo at all, not even once.
Mhm.
Nor do I call other people too.
Okay.
Like,
And you are also the recipient of a subpoena ducis tecum for records,
yes,
correct?
yes.
And have you provided all those records, including emails that you have in your custody related to the Boost program?
I provided to the best of my knowledge what I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any memorandum or any things that has to do with the boost that I sent out.
Yeah.
No, but I
Okay.
did.
But emails, any sort of communications related to the Boost program, have you
I-
provided all of those?
No, because I hardly have any email. I don't think I email out information about boost.
Okay. Um, I'm curious, why would the earlier witnesses say that you were a member of the review panel and reviewed applications if you did not, in fact, participate?
I don't know. But the maybe because at the beginning of our meetings to create the what do you call this, the loan program at the beginning,
Mhm.
the people that are in charge are the three departments. You know, I mean Banco Saifor, Banco Saipan, Finance, Commerce, and the government's office. And yes, at that time, prior to me delegating, telling them that Jess will be my representative,
Mhm.
then I am part of that panel. But that was only at the beginning when we were trying to formalize this thing. As soon as I found out that there's going to be a panel that's going to be making a decision on the applicants, I right away I told the whole group that I will be represented by the director of economic development. Yes.
So from the very beginning,
No.
you
Yes.
said Mr. Taisigui would be
Yes.
representing the
I've never.
department. Okay. And you have stated that it's the governor who was the ultimate approving authority in the Boost program, correct?
That's my understanding. That the recommendation comes from the panel, and the governor has the final approval.
Okay. Um, but could you help us understand if there was a third-party administrator in the Bank of Saipan and a review panel consisting of people appointed by the governor, right? Or at least verbally appointed, according to Mr. Castro, right? Why did the governor even have to be involved in approving grant applications?
I cannot answer you that, Christian.
That
I
was
don't. I
never
don't.
explained or
No.
discussed during this planning process?
No. I'm just assuming that the funding is coming from ARPA, and the governor has that the spending authority for ARPA, and that's the process.
Mhm.
So
Okay. And then going back to that question about legislative reform and oversight and accountability, do you think that it would improve accountability for these funds if it wasn't just one person responsible for the expenditure of $500 million, as in the case of ARPA?
I get, okay. Uh, it could, but I really cannot answer you with that. Whether that's, but of course, anything that we do, the more review, or the more things that is done is more, uh, it will ensure that we meet all the requirements.
Mhm. So it would help to have more eyes on this thing and more people reviewing applications, for example.
I guess so. Yes.
And would you also recommend that in the future, if we were to do anything like this again, that there also be a more neutral administrator for the program and more neutral reviewers who are taking a look at applications, who are not associated with the governor or with the governor's campaign?
I'm sorry, cannot answer. I cannot comment on that
Why not?
because you know I feel like they have no part, or even the governor didn't ask me go and be part of this program. It was when it came out, and the program is about helping our business out there, and Work Associate Commerce will come in and help us. I sincerely open up my heart for that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really, I didn't get an actual appointment from the governor saying you need to be part of this.
Yeah.
Uh,
But his chief of staff was giving you
Well,
directions, right?
Yes, that's
And bringing you
correct.
on board. Who was also the governor's campaign manager, right?
That's what I understand.
And
Yes,
who was also a review panelist, making decisions about who got how much money from this program.
that's correct.
So again, going back to the question, would it help in the future if review panelists were more neutral and not so political?
It could, yes.
Thank you. And then my final question for you, Secretary, is just to clarify your council situation. You're not here with council.
No,
When did the Attorney General inform you that he would not be providing you with counsel from his office?
no, they did not inform me that. As a matter of fact, from the beginning, I told myself, I don't need a counsel.
Hmm.
I'm going to be talking to a group of people that have the right to know what's going on with the programs that we have. You represent the people,
Mm-hmm.
and I have nothing to hide. In coming over here. As a matter of fact, I was looking forward to just sitting down with all of you and providing you with what you need. And work together harmoniously to improve the program, or to find out how we can continue the program. But after we started this public hearing. I think Monday this week. My office got a call from the Attorney General saying did the secretary request for legal assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so just for precautionary, I said, okay, so why don't you submit, on Tuesday, a request for me to get a legal assistance. But the only thing I got from the office is that yesterday I went there just to see what's the status, and I was told by Dickinson that verbally the Attorney General says it's okay. We'll authorize him to get a private attorney. But that's a process again that we need to go through for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's available out there for so.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided let's move forward with this and get it.
Okay. Do you know why the Attorney General said that you would be
Inquire-
authorized to get outside counsel rather than an assistant AG?
I don't know.
You
That's
don't know
why I
why?
went there. Actually, that's why I went there to find out, but
Okay.
nobody can answer me. The age is not there when I went there.
Okay.
So, and I don't even know. It makes me curious because I don't even know why somebody called my office to see whether I requested for a counsel or not. So,
Yeah. Okay. But ultimately, you didn't think that you
No.
needed.
no,
To
I
have
was here. I
counsel.
was here on the 16th without a
Yeah.
counsel.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to
Okay.
testify. No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Recognize Rep. Probst.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good to see you back. Earlier today, we were discussing about I was mentioning the thousands of companies that were under review. And I just kind of wanted to give you a little glimpse of, and this is not even the complete list, but was sent to us, part of the package. And each of these pages that I was looking at through the applicants, this is not all the approved ones, by the way. There was only, at the time we had the original list, it was about 241 that were approved. But imagine there's about 40 some, almost 50 per page, and they just go on and on. And you can flip. So it's voluminous. It's a lot. And that's the thing. This is just looking at the individual companies, and even trying to find them, if it weren't in alphabetical order, would be a little challenge. Now, I want you to imagine this as actual submissions and packets. When some submissions are as big as this binder, and we're talking about thousands. And that's why I had that question earlier about having, these panelists who, as far as I know, uh, you know, um, they are, and as far as we've discussed, they are, uh, they're they serve in the committee to elect for Ralph Torres, right? They serve at his pleasure. They are political appointees, and that was the concern, but not just the possibility of a bias, right? It was the fact that for any just two or three people, the amount of work that would be involved to go through these fairly and accurately is huge. It's for anybody. I mean, if you tasked it for this entire uh, body right now, if we had to go through thousands of applications, we'd be like, wow, we're going to be here for a long, long time. So that has been the concern from the very beginning. And as we have discussed things, it is obvious from everything we have learned so far that there was no actual system put into place as to how these businesses can be chosen with complete fairness, because there's no rubric, there's no set guidelines that are being followed. We've established that. Um, and so there are so many questions, and if somebody wanted to challenge it, say somebody said, well, I feel I've given the very best, um, you know uh, that I have to offer, and I think that my chances should have been better than this company, for example. They wanted to challenge it. What mechanism is in place to challenge that? Do you know of any mechanism?
No, no.
None. Well, because as far as we know, there is none, and that is a concern that we all should have. That includes yourself and all of us, regardless of where we are politically. The main reason why is because there is a possibility that there may be an investigation. There also may be a class action taxpayer lawsuit. And I think that's one of the biggest concerns, because if that does happen, who ends up paying all of this back? I I ask that because if several of the businesses say, "Well, I'm keeping this is my money, I'm going to hold on to it," it means that our taxpayers are going to have to pay it back. And we've seen that happen in the past with under disasters when money was misused or not spent properly. We ended up having to pay that back. Not we, all of us, taxpayers, and it was huge sums of money that we couldn't get reimbursed from the federal government. I think this is what the major concern is moving forward. There still has been no explanation as to how they could accurately and fairly distribute this. And what we have uncovered together as a committee through our interviews and testimonies and discussions with applicants and just reviewing information on our own, it pretty much is impossible to fairly award somebody. I couldn't be in that position myself, sir, because I wouldn't know. I don't have the training, and that's something that also calls into question what expertise or credentials or training did Mr. Castro or Mr. Atelig or Mr. Taisagui, for that reason, have that would make them uh, give them the ability to fairly and accurately award these amounts. So do you see where I'm going with this? This is the big concern, and this is why we're all here today. Is because I'm just looking at some of the things that people apply for. So you would have somebody that said they applied for $500,000, for example, right? And then they were awarded 50% of that award, and they got $250,000. This business, but then later on we find out, because that's one of the questions. Well, did you go down and did the panelists go and check this business? Did they go and visit with the person? The chances are they didn't do any of that. So what are they going on by blind faith? That's a huge concern because, sir, if a business has been shut down, let's say it was never open during it shut down during COVID, but it asked for this money and it's going to be reopened, versus a business that struggled throughout the pandemic, was still paying taxes, went out and got an economic injury disaster loan, got deeper into debt, but still managed to somehow pay their employees and help the economy a little bit. Who would be more deserving of that this boost grant? And what about the entrepreneurs that just started, for example, that have a great idea, maybe a great concept, but never actually invested in the sense that they didn't put up any of their own capital. They put together, they just say got incorporated in August. They put together a business plan, $50. Then they wrote some beautiful package and said, I want to, let me give an example, brew beer. I don't know how to brew beer. I've never brewed beer in my life, but I want to brew beer because I love the taste of beer. And my friends drink beer and I drink beer. But I want to brew beer and I believe I can brew the best beer. I'm asking for $350,000. Sir, we're only going to give you $150,000. Deal. Now, sir, my question for that is that a fair investment for a company that never had any experience whatsoever in brewing beer, but they got $150,000 versus a company that has been open during Sodalor, U2, through the pandemic, had employees, stayed open, took an EIDL, and got $0. Where would be the fairness in that, sir? This is the concern that we have. So I'm just asking, what do you feel about those businesses that have come to us, have come to the chairs, have come to all of us and said, how come I didn't get anything? I put together this beautiful proposal and they give it to us, and it's moving, it's incredible. What can we say to those businesses that, of the thousands that have not received a penny? What do we say to them? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I just I can answer you that because I don't know who are the applicants. Because I'm not part of the reviewing panel for the applicants, so I don't know whether those situations exist or how did they determine who gets what. So, but I appreciate your explanation on.
Thank you. I yield. I just, sir, I just, again, I appreciate you being here, but I do hope that after all of this is discussed, that you can meet with some of these businesses, understand their struggles. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Secretary.
I recognize Rep. Joel Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. Good afternoon, Secretary De Leon Guerrero, and thank you for coming in. My question is just to reiterate, you were part of I know that you've recused yourself as part of the review panel, but you were part of the planning phase for the Boost program. Is that correct?
Yes, I was a part of the yeah, the planning when it was already with the Mako Saipan, when it was already down in
So
Mako Saipan.
the planning and development phase of the program.
Yeah, development of how we're gonna roll it out as a loan.
Okay, so my question is then, was there at any point of time where you guys had agreed upon a way to maybe track these businesses that have been awarded, or how to put it, like a way to enforce that? The reason why I ask this is because of all the people that have received boost checks or boost money. How can you guys assure that they're gonna use the money for the business purposes? Because you guys like repeated many times that these are grant monies.
Yeah.
But now that there's going to be a transition of administration within several weeks from now, who's going to be in charge of enforcing or tracking whether or not these businesses don't just pocket the money and use it for personal reasons and not towards the
Yeah.
business proposal or their business plans?
Yeah. Well, Congressman, as I understand, these recipients have to sign an agreement that specified that they need to utilize this money for the plans that is submitted in. And I also understand that Bank of Saipan, as the administrator, also have the you know the plan to go out and ensure that those fundings are actually used for what is in that agreement that they signed before they took the money from Bank of Saipan.
So you're saying that Bank of Saipan is responsible for that
Will be
reinforcement?
yes, because there will be a report after this that in terms of how those money has been used by the borrowers.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you.
All right. As we close out, any last comments or questions from members? Recognize Rep. Staffler.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to put on record, I went through and I tallied the different award amounts just to kind of get a picture. And it's not 100% accurate, but just to give everyone a picture. The grants that had the most, the grant amount that had the most awarded was $20,000. There were roughly 80 plus people who received $20,000. That was the largest. The second largest amount that people received from the grant was $50,000. About 65 or more people received about $50,000. The next amount of grant award that was most received was $10,000. About 51 applicants received that amount. Out of all of the amounts, the ones that stand out the most, there's only one entity that received $500,000, which was the Bank of Saipan. Looking at the other really large amounts, two entities received $225,000. Two entities received $250,000. 14 entities received $20,000 or $200,000, excuse me. 14 entities received $200,000. 8 entities received $150,000. 7 entities received $125,000. Only 1 entity received $120,000, and 11 entities received about $100,000. Out of all of these amounts, I kind of was most curious to find out how many people received $5,000, and there were only 9 businesses that received $5,000. When I look at all of these numbers and just seeing how the money was distributed and looking at that range, what is your thoughts on the frequency of certain amounts? Do you have anything to share on that?
No, as I said, I wasn't part of that, and I don't have any comments from that.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to put that on record. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Recognize Rep. Joel.
Just a last follow-up question from a statement you made. So Bank of Guam will be doing the enforcement moving forward. Is that correct? Or Bank of Saipan, sorry.
Yes,
So who
that's
will,
what that's what I heard from testimony of John Arroyo here.
so who enforces Bank of Saipan?
Right?
Since they're a recipient.
I guess whoever does the contract for them, and that will be finance and the administration.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. With that, Secretary De Leon Guerrero, we'd like to take this time to thank you for coming in and complying with the subpoena. You had every right to have an attorney present, but you still came in before the committee to testify to the best of your ability. Therefore, at this time, we will now dismiss you from the subpoena as you have fully complied with your legal obligations to appear before our committees. All right. And so with that, Secretary, again, you are hereby excused from the subpoena, and we would like to thank you for, again, your presence here. Happy holidays. We will take a short recess. We now rise back from recess, and next item on today's on the agenda that was from last week's notice is miscellaneous and announcements. And so, as you know, we are adjourning today's meeting. We do have a notice posted for Tuesday. We will continue with Mr. Jesus Taisegui. Um, and so we will come back at 10:30 on Tuesday. All right. Any other announcements from members? Okay. If there's none, I just want to take this opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays with your family and friends, and we will see you back on Tuesday. All right. Next item, Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. Can I get a motion, please? All right, motion was made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Meeting is hereby adjourned at 2:53 p.m. on December 23.